welcome to the second in our series on homemade plant milks. So today I'm going to be telling you about almond and sesame milk, which is one of my favorite varieties. And I'm going to be using it to make my favorite smoothie, which I call the happy chocolate smoothie. And I'll tell you a bit more about why I call it that in a minute. So let me just recap on what happened yesterday or in the previous video, if you didn't catch it. We talked about how to make almond milk. And really basically, we soak 1 cup of almonds in 4 cups of water overnight, strain it, add to a blender with a fresh 4 cups of water, and blend for 1 minute, and then strain through one of these little babies, a nut milk bag or a piece of muslin, and you have beautiful homemade almond milk. That was the very simple basic version that we made yesterday. So today this is a variation on that. So to the soaking water of the almonds, I added 1/4 cup of sesame seeds. So that's 4 tablespoons of sesame seeds to 1 cup of almonds, and soaked those overnight. And I have already made them into milk because I want to focus on making the smoothie today. So here is the beautiful almond and sesame milk. So the reason I'm adding sesame seeds into the mix is, as I told you in the last video, almonds have so many health benefits. Well, sesame is like health benefits plus. Sesame has very high levels of calcium, magnesium, zinc, and selenium. So it's good for your bones and for your immune system. And like almonds, sesame and most nuts and seeds actually are also high in the amino acid tryptophan, which is a precursor. It basically gets turned in our bodies into those feel-good neurotransmitters, serotonin and melatonin. So we know that these are so important for our mental well-being, for our happiness, for our calmness, for our focus, our cognitive function. And melatonin, of course, is responsible for regulating our sleep cycles. So having plenty of that in our diet is going to ensure we get good sleep. Sesame seeds are also high in fiber and protein. They have good levels of mono and polyunsaturated fats. They also contain lignans and phytosterols. Now, it doesn't matter if you know what they are. Just know that that type of fat and those plant chemicals have cholesterol-lowering effects. So rather than a saturated fat that you would get in a regular dairy milk, which might raise your cholesterol, this kind of milk will actively be lowering it. One of those lignans that I just mentioned is called sesamin, and there's been a bit of study done on this lignan. It's been found to have an anti-inflammatory effect, and one study showed that it can protect the cartilage around the knee joint, which will help to reduce the pain and swelling if you have any arthritis. Sesame is also really high in copper, which again has been found to reduce the pain of arthritis. So if you have arthritis, you should be eating sesame seeds on a regular basis. And also another study showed that a regular intake of sesame in postmenopausal women, this study was, so it's of particular interest to me and perhaps some of you. It found that it improved our lipids in the blood, so the levels of the good and bad fat in our blood. It improved the sex hormones, and it also improved the general antioxidant status of the person. So in order to get these benefits from nuts and seeds, and particularly from sesame seeds, because they're so tiny, we do need to have quite a few. It's not just a few sprinkles on our stir fry, but we probably need to be having 2, 3, 4 tablespoons a day That's the kind of levels they were using in those sorts of studies. Now, I'm not saying you have to eat sesame seeds every day. In fact, I never say it's a good idea to eat the same kind of nuts and seeds every single day. It's a good idea to rotate them, actually. But certainly throw a quarter of a cup of sesame seeds into your almond milk once a week or every couple of weeks if you're making your homemade plant milks regularly. So one of the benefits of putting sesame seeds in your milk is that they get blended and then all of their nutrients come out and we're going to absorb them much more easily. So because they're so small, we can't chew sesame seeds up, and they do have a tendency to pass through the digestive system and come out the other side unprocessed. So we're blending them. We're also soaking them because this is going to help to reduce the levels of any of they're called phytates and oxalates. They're a substance in nuts and seeds that may hinder our absorption of other nutrients. So we want to get rid of as many of those as possible. Same with the almonds. The soaking process does help to lower them. And also we can buy whole sesame seeds because those substances are in the husk around the nut or seed. Now, somebody did get in touch with me after the last video and mentioned that she uses peeled almonds for her almond milk. And I highly recommend that because it does reduce the phytates and oxalates. But if it's such a pain to peel almonds, and I don't want to make it difficult for you. So this is why we soak it and then we blend it and we remove those skins. So we're reducing them as much as possible. So I've made the almond and sesame milk, and I'm going to make you my happy chocolate smoothie. Now, if you would like to have the full recipe of this, plus some information about why it's so good for you, then please just hop onto my website. You can sign up for my mailing list and you will get a free recipe sent to you for this fantastic smoothie. Now, I know this is fantastic because I've personally been drinking it for around about 8 years now. I invented it for myself when I first started having the symptoms of perimenopause, and it's really helped me through. So if you're in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, or any time, because it's frankly a delicious smoothie, but it's definitely, girls, your best friend during those times. And I'll tell you why. So in this smoothie, we have some really important superfoods. We have cacao. And anybody who knows me knows how much I love cacao and chocolate. And you might want to read my article on the health benefits of chocolate that I just posted on the website this week. So cacao is amazing. It contains magnesium for strong bones and to help relax the muscles and the nervous system. It contains iron for increased energy. It has very high levels of antioxidants. And as anybody knows who enjoys chocolate, it elevates your mood. And this is because it contains some very special plant chemicals. So it contains phenylethylamine, the chemical that's produced when we're in love, which triggers the release of pleasurable endorphins and dopamine. It also contains anandamide. Now, any of you yogis out there will know that ananda is Sanskrit for bliss. So this is the bliss chemical, which acts a little bit like the cannabinoids in marijuana, producing a feeling of elation in the body. It contains theobromine, which again is something that helps to lift the mood. It's chemically similar to caffeine, but not the same. And it does contain a little bit of caffeine, which tends to give us a bit of a more longer lasting alertness than regular caffeine. But if you are sensitive to caffeine, it's possible you're sensitive to cacao as well. So just be cautious. Second superfood that I put in my smoothie is carob. Now, carob is a fantastic alternative to cacao if you're sensitive to cacao. And it's also a powerhouse of nutrients. It has B vitamins, it has more calcium than milk, it has magnesium, it has iron. And it also has higher levels of insoluble fiber, which are going to help to reduce your blood cholesterol and can also help to regulate blood sugar levels. So carob I love the taste of it. It just adds a kind of a little salty, savory taste to the whole mix. And the third superfood that I put in is maca. So when I was beginning to have symptoms of perimenopause, hot flushes were one of the ones that I didn't like very much. And if you've ever had one, you probably don't like them either. Now, I know that maca definitely does help with hot flushes. It's an adaptogenic food. So that means it helps to balance and calm the nervous system, and therefore our hormones come back into balance. It can help with acne, it can help with insomnia, low libido, it raises your energy, and it has also definitely been found to reduce menopausal hot flushes. So no, not just to mention those things, it's also really high in a million minerals. Protein, it's got protein, it's got B vitamins, it's got calcium, it's got magnesium, it's got potassium, it's got iron. So these three are really the star attractions in this smoothie. And I should probably start putting some things in this blender. So I'm going to start with 1 cup of the lovely almond and sesame milk. So rich and creamy. And 1 tablespoon of cacao. I put 1 teaspoon of carob. It's a much stronger taste, so you don't need as much. And about 1 teaspoon of maca as well. Now to this mix, those are the important things. You can add things that you like. I like to put some banana in. I've got some frozen banana here. But you can also put in berries if you prefer berries. You don't need any fruit at all, but it's a good way to get some extra berries in there. I put in a little bit of vanilla extract. If you want to measure that, it's about 1/4 teaspoon. And some kind of sweetener you'll want. I'm actually using this stevia mix at the moment, Naphia, which I am trying not to eat too much sugar, but you can also use honey, you can use brown rice syrup, maple syrup, whatever you feel like. And I usually add a little bit of protein powder. Now, this is definitely not essential, and it's not in the recipe on the website, but I tend to add this so that my breakfast is just a little bit more substantial. Because that's all I eat for my breakfast, and that keeps me going until lunchtime. Finally, pinch of salt. I always add a pinch of salt to my chocolate recipes. It really brings out the flavour of the chocolate. So there we go. Hope I haven't forgotten anything. I'm actually going to run the blender now. So I'm going to run it for about ½ minute. So if you want to just have a meditate for ½ minute or so. It's the noisiest part of the morning. And here we have the happy chocolate smoothie, which raises your serotonin levels, your melatonin, has a bundle of minerals and vitamins, tastes delicious, can reduce hot flashes, raises your libidos, ladies, and gives you a ton of energy. I hope you enjoy it.